So what do you do now? You've been in recovery for X many months and things aren't as bad as they were, and yet you know you're not recovered. Where do you go from here? That's something that hits a lot of us, I think, when we've been working on recovery for a long period of time, and yet we know we still have far to go, and we're like, well, what do we do? Which is why we find ourselves in this area of grayness, where some days are better than others, where some days you're almost symptom free, and other days you find yourself barely being able to get through a meal. And that's something that is definitely interesting to look at, especially in recovery when you're at a point where you're not so engrossed in the disorder that you can't function without it. But you know, you've worked on it, you've worked on different things, and yet here you are. And that's all you can really say is I'm here. Where do I go? When you find yourself in this place of kind of gray land of not really knowing where to go, whether or not you're still on the right road or not, I think it's important to look at recovery and look at your life and see kind of what has improved, point out things that has changed since you've been working on recovery, whether it be things that you've gained as a result. Like, for example, I gained the musical back, which was something that my eating disorder had taken away from me. That's an example of one. Something like that. But also taking those steps, like, are you taking those steps every day in order to further your recovery or even just uphold your recovery? Sometimes you don't really move anywhere steadfast. Like, you don't all of a sudden jump and you're like the next day so in love with yourself and, you know, everything's fine and peachy keen and all that. Sometimes you just gotta be like, okay, well, I'm here, I'm eating, I'm getting by, I'm doing okay. And that's good enough. You don't need to be making major leaps in recovery every day. What recovery is repetition and reminding yourself that you have to be strong and you have to maintain, and that's something that is really important. So you have to wake up every day and eat. You have to not only eat but eat healthily. You have to listen to your hunger cues. You've got to attend therapy when things trigger you. You've got to work and use those coping skills that you've used and learned and found out that they work. You've got to use them, and showing that it may be like, okay, well, for the millionth time, I'm journaling. Like, you know, what else do you want me to do? But the very fact that you're journaling and not manipulating your food is progress in and of itself, because it's taking the power away from the disorder and it's saying this is a positive coping skill that I can have, and that's okay, and I can do that, and that's going to be wonderful. But when we find ourselves here, as I said, it's so important to maintain, to uphold weight, to eat healthily, to recognize that where you're at is where you're at, and your body is where it needs to be at this moment. And you've really got to accept that. So whether you be facing new challenges, like medically, maybe your dietitian or nutritionist is recommending new things, maybe you're getting a meal plan for the first time, and you don't know how to handle that. The thing is, you have to remember that recovery has to be the first thing in your life. And there's so much that you've lost through your disorder. I have lists written, things that I just had to remind myself that I've lost. The years, the energy, the time, the friends and family, the mental sanity that it has cost me to be living with my disorder. But the thing is, you're not actually living with it. When you are engrossed in your disorder, it's as if you're living in this land where you're already dead. I know the hell that I lived through was absolute misery, and I was at a place where I was dead because my life had ceased to exist outside of the disorder. And yet now that I'm working on recovery and seeing that I do have a life, it's about taking advantage of that. I mean, you always hear the phrase YOLO, you only live once. And that's so important because you do only live once. And for so many years, I was living dead. I was a skeleton walking through this world, one that didn't have any body to it, one that didn't have the body of friends and family and support and love and comfort and understanding. I was just the skeletons of my disorder. And something that really, I think, hit was the fact that when a, when maintaining your life, you can't only focus on recovery. Recovery has to be getting everywhere in your life, and it has to be something that follows you everywhere. But instead of sitting down and going, I am working on recovery today, you have to have recovery just be a part of your everyday life, so that it's customarily to wake up to eat, so that it's customary to take care of yourself, so that it's customary and normal to go out with friends and have a good time, but even more, let yourself have a good time, let yourself have fun. It's steps like those that really make all the difference, that further your recovery, uphold it, and by repeating things like that, you are having that power that you didn't have before against your illness, because you're maintaining the life, you're building the body onto that skeleton of the disorder. And you find as soon as you're gaining that body of outings and friends and family and comfort and support and love and trust, as you get that body, you find that the disorder is buried deep within, and then slowly but surely it's no longer there. I I think that's so important to think about right now in recovery, especially if you're in that gray area of you're not actively restricting or binging or purging or overexercising or engaging in any type of symptom, but you're not all the way there yet. The thing is, you've got to continue to build your life up and build it so that you are living. Because, as the phrase says, YOLO, you only live once. So do what you want in the moment. Be present. Be there with your friends. Be there at the movies, in the park, in nature. Just be actively involved and recognize any happiness that comes your way. Recognize that there is beauty in this world. Writing down lists of things you're grateful for, things that you love, people who have helped you within a day. Looking for the silver linings every day. Pointing out highs and lows and recognizing that, sure, both of them happen, but the thing is not to place any judgment on them. To just say, sure, these low things happen, but I have highs as well. Whether it be a high of, I just went to a concert and I had the best time ever, or whether it be that coffee today was just so darn good. Like, it can be anything, but something that really can help you and help your recovery is upholding that, maintaining that, and recognizing that you are worth recovery and that it does get better. So I just wanted to leave you guys this message of hope. And I just wanted to say that if you guys are ever in need of somebody to talk to, that I'm always here, as you guys know. But I hope all of you are well, and I wish you the very best. Okay, bye.